Hey YouTube, thanks for stopping by today. Today I'm going to be changing the front differential oil in my Toyota Sequoia. Here's a little teaser of what's to come. Got some skid plates. So if you have your owner's manual and want to double check what I'm telling you, go ahead and look in this scheduled maintenance guide. Usually will be in here still if you have the original owner's manual, and it tells you all the services that are needed per service interval. So for 60,000 miles is what the front differential oil is. So I'm going to go ahead and change this out. So I just recently changed my front diff oil out maybe 30,000 miles ago, but I did recently add some CVJ axles when I did my front end refresh. If you follow my channel, you saw that happen. Well, while you're changing out the CVs and the axles, you actually lose some oil. And I've been driving probably 10,000 miles with low oil in the front diff. So don't do what I did, but I'm about to take this Sequoia on a long road trip to Montana from Texas. It's a 24-hour drive one direction for an elk hunt. So I figured I might as well go ahead and just drain whatever oil's in there and replace it with some new one. According to the service manual, the front diff is 75W90. This is not the same as what you will need for the rear diff. So if you are thinking of doing that, don't just assume that this is the same oil. It's a different weight oil for the rear. And I think it needs like 1.2 quarts or something like that. Because it's a metric converted to imperial, it's like some weird like 1.14, 1.18, something like that. But anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and get to this. Pro tip, definitely invest in one of these. This is a new one that I just got. The one that I have used prior is in Carrollton, Texas, with the Mini Cooper race car that we built for the 24-hour lemons. I got a video series on that if it's something you're interested in. But I've tried pouring it, I've tried funneling it, I've tried running a tube from the top, I've tried compressed air, and it's just always more of a hassle than it needs to be, because the hole for the differential or wherever you're trying to put oil into is always in a weird location. So getting one of these is super, super handy. This clips into whatever hole you're pouring it into, so you don't have to worry about it coming out. You simply screw this on. It's got different links for an oil can or whatever, and then you just simply pump it in until you see the oil come out of the filled plugs. So this is paramount in ease of use when changing any kind of oil. Definitely look into it. I think I got this on Amazon. If I did, I'll have the link in the description below. Hey guys, so it's been about a few weeks since I changed the differential oil, the front diff oil on my Sequoia. I should have done this beforehand, but I was running out of time because I needed to get this changed out before going to Wyoming. I've been back and decided to go ahead and just get these ordered. The factory plugs have like, I think it's a 10 or 12 millimeter hex inlay into the actual plug itself. So those commonly get stripped out. The ones that I had on my Sequoia were actually already pretty stripped, and I think I had to use like a T55 Torx bit to even get them out. And they were also missing these little gaskets here. So the Lexus versions have, you can see a hex head on it instead of an actual Allen key inlet. So a lot of people just change these out. This is the one for the bottom. You can see the magnet there. This is the one for the top, no magnet. And I have these gaskets. So this gasket kit I bought on Amazon. I will have a link directly to this kit. I think it was only like 10 bucks or something like that. But I will post a picture here with all the different part numbers if you only wanted to get these two gaskets and not get the extra ones here. These are for like the rear differential and the transmission, I believe. But I just went ahead and got the kit. And then these plugs were individual as well. Here's the part number for the plug with the magnet. I will try to have a link down below, but if I don't, then just Google this number here. And same for this. This is the upper plug here. Again, these are for Lexus. And you can see this gasket is flat on one side and kind of rounded on the other, and this is just flat. So having these gaskets on will actually help you be able to torque them down to the correct torque spec, unlike having to crank down and just hope that it doesn't leak, and then having to continually crank down until it stops leaking, and then you just run further risk of stripping out the Allen key inputs on these plugs. So hope that helped out. I'm gonna go ahead and put these on now. Okay guys, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is take off your front skid plate so you can access the front diff, which is right here. Right here is the drain plug, and right there is the fill plug. So once you take your front skid plates off, it attaches onto this bar here. It'll be pretty easy to get to this. I'm taking out the fill plug first, just so that way when I let it drain, got some better airflow and it'll drain a little bit smoother. Make sure your oil catch can is under. Let's see just how little oil there really is in here. Looks pretty clear, I mean, honestly. It's not too bad. It's actually more than I thought. So on the bottom plug, there's a magnet. You want to check this before you wipe it all off. Make sure there's no metal shavings and stuff. This is there to try and catch up any metal shavings that might come off in the process. So just take a look at it before you put it back on. This little thing, you just plug it in and it clips in and it stays in threads right there, so that's nice. And then you just screw this into the oil bottom. So what most people do, and what I normally do, is I just pump it in and fill it until I start seeing oil coming out of the fill hole. Then I know it's good, and I'll just screw the cap back on. But technically, you're supposed to fill it up within 5 millimeters of the bottom of the fill tube. So my finger isn't small enough to fit in there and feel around, so you can get something like this and just put it in there and rest it on the bottom, and if it's touching, then you know it's within 5 millimeters. So I went ahead and just filled it like I said I normally do. Once I saw a little bit of oil starting to seep out, then I just stopped and capped it up. A good rule of thumb is to leave the skid plate off, you know, for a day or two, and just come and check, make sure you don't see any slow leaking out of any of these plugs. And if, you know, after a day or two, you don't see any wet oil coming out, then you're good to go, and you have just completed the front diff oil change. So I didn't have a perfect oil change. You could see I got a few little drops of oil there. That was from when I was changing the lid over from the first quart over to the second quart. But this is a much cleaner way to do things, in my opinion. Much easier and much cleaner. Also, make sure you clean up. You know, you can wipe the oil. You can legally throw away oily rags. You don't have to try and hide them. If you don't believe me, well, I don't really care. I used to work at a landfill at a gas plant. We created electricity off of methane gas pulled off of the landfill. So I became really intricate with landfill rules and what was allowed and not allowed. But anyway, so there it is, guys. As you're pulling this out, I usually just pump the remainder of the oil that's in this back into the oil can itself, and then kind of wipe this off and clean it up as best as I can. There is still a little bit of oil in there, but that's not the end of the world. So, and for those of you who have never worked with gear oil or, you know, differential oil, whatever, it definitely has a unique smell. So just be prepared for that. I have grown to love it, but if it gets on you, you will probably smell it for a day or two on your skin. It smells like a mixture of like rank oil and BO and dead possum. I don't know. I don't even know what a dead possum smells like, but Definitely has a unique smell. Well, I hope that helped you guys out. Like I said, the interval change is 60,000 miles for the front diff oil. I do know that Toyota, an actual Toyota dealer, does the four-wheel drive like maintenance where they change, I think, the front and the rear diff, and then they grease all the joints that needed and all that. I think it's only like a few $100. So if that's something you're considering doing, you know, definitely call a Toyota dealership. It was way cheaper when I did it the first time on here. I just had the dealership do it just because it was so reasonable. But for those of you who want to do this yourself, you know, this is how you do it. This is how I did it, and I hope that helped you out. So the top, I'll have to look at what the torque specs are for the bottom plug. I didn't torque either the top or the bottom. I just tightened them down to what I thought they should be, but I do know that the top plug, the torque specs are 29 foot-pounds, so it's not really that much. I will try to find the torque specs for the bottom plug, and I will put them on the screen here. But if this helped you guys out, please hit that like and subscribe button, comment on the video, even if it's just a thumbs up or something. It really does help the channel out. So I hope this helped you guys out. And like always, guys, keep on enjoying life out there. I hope you're having a great day, and thanks for watching.